Today we'll be focusing more on hierarchies in logo design and also hierarchy in typography. This is just an introduction to these both topics before I take them one after the other in the subsequent tutorials. So what is hierarchy in logo design? You notice sometimes you find it difficult to align names, specifically names that are longer, names that are shorter, how to align them to work with your logo icons and so on. I'll be talking about that with an instance of a logo design on these typographies and how to place them and which one works in a vertical shape and which one works in a horizontal shape. But for today, what we are focusing more on is hierarchy in logo design and typography. So now in logo design, hierarchy simply means which word makes more meaning to the reader or viewer than the others, which word is more prioritized than the others. Now, you wouldn't like the tagline of the product you are branding to have more emphasis than the name of the product itself. You wouldn't want the name or the title or the motto of that particular logo you are preparing to have more visual reasons with the viewer or more visual presence in the viewer's face more than the logo name itself. So these are what we are trying to deal with today. That's why clients sometimes they say the logo icon is too big or the logo typography face is too big and this and that. You understand? They actually don't know the problem, but they know there is a problem. Okay, so you are going to understand today which one to use on 4-letter logo names, because there are names of logo designs. Probably for this startup businesses, they like longer names. Like this one we have the 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃 luxury fashion world. They like incorporating everything, not like Apple or Samsung or LG and some other of those popular brands that have a very short name for remembrance. They don't care about that. All these startup businesses, what they care about is just to give them a name that reaches all aspects of their niche, because they deal with what kind of business we call multi-mineral, multifunctional kind of business. So they would like everything to incorporate or balance in all those niche. So now we are going to work this out, and also we are going to work out how we are going to use this. I extracted this from one of my students' work, and I think we are going to use it today. It's going to make more sense if we work on that. And finally, we are going to try also in one word. So let's exempt these two and work with this one. So now you have a typography like this and you want to prepare a logo. What do you do first? After typing the name in a rough font, what first you do, you duplicate this into two. Now you select the you first of all you have to read this thing again and again to understand which particular word or words makes more meaning to the business than the others. I'm not talking about motto, or I'm not talking about taglines here. Okay, we don't have any tagline here. Probably in the subsequent tutorial, we will be focusing more on how to use this typography format or styles that I'm teaching you today on logo design. I'll be talking about how to use them and incorporate with taglines. Sometimes you use them, it doesn't need any tagline. Sometimes you use them, you need tagline to commemorate and make it look more sensible and reasonable to people who are viewing it. So now this first one, we are going to deal with it. First thing, we are going to read all the name and see which one make more meaning to us, like I said earlier. So we say 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃 luxury fashion world, 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃 luxury fashion world. All these words make more sense. 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃 luxury fashion world. The 𝗬𝗲 is the name of the brand itself, but we can't align luxury fashion world beneath 𝗬𝗲 and still make it have more reasons to be visible when it is zoomed out from a far distance. So what do we do from here? What we do, cut the two letters. Since these two are going to work, these two are going to stay up and these two are going to stay down. So let's say 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃 luxury will be the focal point, then fashion world will be the rest. So what we are going to do here is to delete the letter format that we don't like, then come to this one, we delete the first annotation we want. So now we have these two things here. What are we going to do now? The words are not aligned perfectly. If you have a kind of design like this and you probably would be aligning the logo by the left, it works perfectly fine. If you are doing this for a design, it works perfectly. This is a very cool design concept. But what if the logo is going on top of it? Probably they will be needing it for a profile format, like the one I showed you guys some time ago about 𝗬𝗻𝗏𝗄𝗧 fashion world. It's on the screen right now. You understand that this design have a profile format and also a web format. A web format is in this format, so it can be slanted on a horizontal format, but a mobile format usually is on a vertical format. So what if this is here? You see we have a totally big problem here. The whole work is being rubbished. Even if you have a nice concept, you have a rubbish concept here presenting to the client. So what do we do here? What do we do? Now let's assume we have solved this problem over here, and you could also work on your font. Let's change this font. I like us to use 𝗎𝗎bold here, and in this we also use 𝗎𝗎bold. So now we use two 𝗎𝗎bold. See how serious the design is becoming. Make sure the space is not too clustered and doesn't make less sense to you or the viewer. So now we have this to work. We are comfortable enough with this. Okay, we can make this a design or a logo. You dig? So we could make this a logo, and just as it is, we have our logo design. Now what if we are placing this logo, like I said earlier, on top of this? We're having a problem because there is a lot of white space around this corner, and that wouldn't be nice to be viewed. That's what makes most work look very stupid and most work look more professional and enticing. So your work look less enticing because there are a lot of space that are not working perfectly. If there should be any space here, then there should also be the same size of space here, like I tell most of my students. So now what are we going to do? That's the reason why we separate these both names in the beginning. Not that we can't click, not that we can't let the name be and then we just space out like this. Not that we can't do so. Let me tell you why we did the separation. See, you can easily move this around anytime you want to without affecting this, without stressing yourself, and that will make your workflow faster. When I'll be teaching you how to make your workflow in logo design faster, I'll talk about that the more. So now you see what we have here. We're going to make this a little bit to the middle, then we can now center this. Probably we select everything, go to the option over here. Watch what I do. Let me zoom closely so you see. Let me zoom more closely. This option in the align format. If you don't find the align format, go to your Windows, you will see the align format, click on it, then you see a sample like this. So now we have the align format. Now you understand what I'm talking about. What you're going to do, select everything. To make sure everything is more centered, you click on this icon right here to center everything to the middle. I even tried. Mine is more centered than this. So now you have everything centered. You can, space this out a little. It makes more sense. This is format number 1 we'll be using. Now let's go to format number 2. Format number 2 would be making this first one have a more hierarchy. We are talking about hierarchy in this. Have a more higher hierarchy. I talked about this because I know we don't have to focus more on just one topic. I like talking about other things if need be in my tutorial. So now we have this issue here. What do? We make this a more hierarchy words, okay, to make it have more emphasis than this one beneath. How do we do that? Shift this and we expand this the more. Okay, we expand it like so, and the one beneath we still leave it at the same format. Now you see what's happening here. When someone comes in, what they read is 𝗎𝗲 luxury is the most focal point here before they read about fashion world. If you want to make this more emphatic, you can select this fashion world, then go to your character panel above here. Let me zoom closely so you see. Go to your character panel here. Go to your character panel, then you can space it out here. Let's give it a space of 100. Let's see if that works better. Yeah, very good. See a space of 100, what it gives. Let me zoom out so you understand what's going on beneath. If you give it a space of 100, if you give it a space of 200, look at what we have. See, we are expanding this a little more. Let's give it a space of 300. Let's give it a space of 400. Then we reduce our fonts. Let me show you why we do that. Now we give it a space of 400 and we place it here. You see, why we are giving spaces on the text beneath, we want to make this perfectly aligned accordingly with this one beneath. You see how it works perfectly, as though these words are perfect. We are not giving any space here. We don't need any space at all. Okay, now this is what we do at the first time. You can use that format if you like, but if you don't like that format, you can use this one also. Okay, but this too big bogus for us since the logo is too small. Unless we are expanding the logo, the more it looks more interesting. So when your client say the logo is too big or is too small, understand that the problem is from the typeface, not the logo you are using, because the logo can be small, it can be big. It's only the typeface that determines whether a logo is small or is big. But nevertheless, whenever you increase the size of a logo, automatically the size of the typeface becomes small. It's automatic. Okay, you don't have to redress the whole of them. Anyone you increase reduces the next. That is it. So if peradventure you increase the size of this font, automatically it decreases the size of the logo, because when you zoom out, you understand that. You dig? Very good. So let's go back to the beginning. So now we have this. What next we have to do to make this font look smaller and still adjust according to these angles? What you're going to do is to reduce the font size. Okay, use font size and place it in the middle or so. So this is a cool format for this logo brand. We are done with this. I hope you understand that very well. I don't want you to be making this mistake of typography anymore. Let's jump over to the next. We are going to use 𝗬𝗄𝗧𝗂𝗧 still on this. That doesn't mean you should be using 𝗬𝗄𝗧𝗂𝗧 in all your designs. So this, we have a problem here. Now what we are going to do here is we do the same thing we did in the first one, duplicating this, and now we are going to delete this one and then we delete this one. This is the format I use. You can find a way to do yours, but this is what I like doing. So now we assume that this logo is still going to be in the top side of this. Now we have this and we have bakery beneath, but we want this to be more stylish, because this bakery is not a brand just like the others. This is a brand that needs some kind of styles to make it looks more, enticing to viewers. So we're going to choose a font typeface that is going to call the angle. For instance, this, I love this so much. So what you do, you increase the size and make sure it overlaps this other one. Okay, make sure it overlaps this other one in a way. Now what you're going to do next is to stroke it with white to separate it from the background of the other. So stroke it with white color. See what we have there, make it pop out. So good. So let's get back. This font don't support some kind of strokes. So since it doesn't support some kind of strokes, what you're gonna do, we're gonna expand it. Go to objects, alternative Z. Go to object, click on expand. Okay, you click OK, it automatically expands this. So now it's expanded. Let's go back and try our stroking again. So stroking, we change the color to white. Now we can push it out from here. Now we are done. Move it a little bit and it will separate from the one above. You can also increase the size a little more. Very good. Now you add your colors and your design is done. You could add a V here if you wish to. We are still going to use 𝗬𝗄𝗧𝗂𝗧 on this. So this V is not going to bear black, it's going to bear white because we are in a white background, so that when we separate the color, we understand what's going on beneath. So this is how to make for a bakery logo typeface. Now this last one, you guys know what's up with it. We are not going to do much on it. It's very compatible to work as a mobile or a web view when you place your logo here or when you place your logo above it. So very simple and that's it. I'm going to use 𝗬𝗄𝗧𝗂𝗧. Let's see. So this one, we are not going to make it pop out. One name, you don't make it extend that much. One name should be within the icon. Okay, see how this makes more sense. Remember, I'm not teaching you how to make this kind of logos. I'm teaching you the typography techniques I use to prepare my kind of logos. See how this looks exceptional. We are using this 𝗬𝗬𝗲𝗬𝗲 because this is a luxury font. It needs an elegant font. It doesn't need stylish kind of font, even if it is for a female. This we are using 𝗬𝗏𝗍𝗂𝗧. We don't know what brand this is, but we believe this is a cool brand because with the name type, we know that this is not an unserious brand. This is a very serious brand because they don't care about multiple names. And this also for the bakery format, we use a stylish because we know that this has to do with malt icons, wheat icons, and so wheat icons, these icons are called, and people need to see stuff like that embedded in your brand design. So that is it for our hierarchy in logo design. Let's get into hierarchy in typography. Now, when you get hierarchy, when you're typing stuff or presenting a concept or making when you're making a kind of a PDF for pitch presentation or business planning for a client, you'll be exporting in PDF format, you know that you are going to deal with a lot of typography like this. How do you deal with the hierarchy? Now we have a concept like this. There are two kinds of hierarchy in typography. We have color hierarchy and we have text font size hierarchy. Now we are faced with this instruction have its own hierarchy. We know that this is talking about this. If we want to emphasize more on this hierarchy in this instruction, what we are going to do is to select and make it the color of that brand. Okay, probably the color of the brand is orange. We make it the color of that brand. That is a hierarchy. So now when you come in and you want to read, you will first of all read instruction before you get into reading these other ones. Okay, now what next we are going to do, we're going to apply another kind of hierarchy above this. Now let's write the name of the brand. Let's say for instance 𝗬𝗏𝗲. Okay, now 𝗬𝗏, we are writing this, and how do we separate this hierarchy, make it look more increasing than these other hierarchies? This is a second hierarchy. We call this, you can call this 𝗬4, but the first hierarchy should be 𝗬1. Check that online. You know, 𝗬1 font type, 𝗬2, 𝗬3, 𝗬4, 𝗬5, and 𝗬6. 𝗬6, this one I could be using in this. I could be using 𝗬6. 𝗬6 means is the smallest type font you can use on the web. 𝗬4 is a little in between the big and the small. Then 𝗬1 is the biggest you can use. So this 𝗬1, but it's not looking like 𝗬1. How do we make it look like 𝗬1? By increasing the font typeface. So when someone comes into here, the hierarchy says you must read 𝗬𝗏 before you read instructions and before you read the details. Make this more emphatic. We change the color to become the brand color, probably yellow or so. So we are done. That is it about that hierarchy in. Can change this font. I don't like what it's doing to us. Can use 𝗬𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗏. No, let's use prime time. So we use prime time. I love this font because of its elegance. So make sure in hierarchy usage, make sure that your fonts align accordingly with, see, if I make it look like so, it won't make any sense because this doesn't align accordingly. When you are preparing a logo, make sure you align your stuffs to work well with your, even if it doesn't want to align like that way, you make sure you select all this one. You want to align this to the middle, select all this one, then click on this to align it to the center. Once it's aligned to the center, now you can place this 𝗬𝗏 above it. This is a perfect kind of design, okay? But if you don't want to do this, the one I use regularly is this. Okay, make sure everything is also aligned at the left. Okay, hope you understand that. Now let's make another hierarchy for this particular one over here. Make it stick up from this angle and make sure it also ends in this point. Now this one, we are going to change the color to become the color beneath here. I will tell you why we are not using the same color the font came with. Why we are not using the same color the font came with, that this will look the same and this will look the same. We don't want that. We want this to look like this and this to look, that's what makes brand look more unique, because you are incorporating the both concepts together. Okay, so now we have this 𝗬𝗏 and we have this instruction. So this is a perfect typography. Now let's get to the other form of typography. Probably with this black is taking more of the eyesight. Let's deal with it a little. So what you're going to do, we are going to decrease it. I don't like that. We're going to decrease it to make it, we make it look more like a gray and let it have less focus than the others. Select everything, then we select on gray. So let's see how. Wow, so this is a cool hierarchy in typography. This is a cool hierarchy in typography. See how it looks? So this is the color type of typography hierarchy, and this is the size type of typography hierarchy. So when you are doing a hierarchy next time, focus more on the font typeface. Make sure what you want people to read more is the one that have more boldness, more font weight, and more color shapes. Okay, so this the same thing applicable to this. We use this as the more hierarchy than this. We use this other one as the more hierarchy than this, and we use this as more hierarchy than what we don't have there. So that is it for today's tutorial. This the introduction to hierarchy in typography and introduction to hierarchy in logo design. In our next tutorial or in the subsequent tutorial, I'll be teaching you in-depth analysis in hierarchy in logo design. We'll be using a real-time logo for the presentation. Thank you all. Once again, this is Manuel. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure to do so. Share this post if it's actually impacted in you, so your friends can also be part of it. And once again, enjoy the rest of the day being creative. So that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, like, and make sure you share to your friends. You're not gonna enjoy this alone. Once again, this is Manuel signing out from CatersGraphix. Thank you all for being a part of this.